Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about, is Thailand safe? Now that's an interesting question. Now, how are we looking at this? Are we talking about crime? Are we talking about the environment? Well, we're going to talk about all of it. But first, we're going to talk about crime itself. Now, Thailand is generally considered a safe country. So I was curious, out of all the countries that make up Southeast Asia, how does Thailand compare to the bordering countries and all the other ones that make up Southeast Asia when it comes to crime? So I have a list here that I looked up the other night. So so I'm going to go with the countries with the most crime and work myself down. There's only 9 countries from what I've seen that make up Southeast Asia, so there's not a whole lot to go through. So the first one, so this would be the place that has the highest crime rate, would be Malaysia, followed by Cambodia, then Myanmar. I thought Myanmar would be higher on the list. Indonesia, then we have Vietnam, the Philippines, then Thailand coming in at number 7. Coming in at number 8 is Brunei, and then after that is Singapore. Now, my wife and I have never had any problem or even a close encounter with any sort of crime whatsoever in the 2 years that we've lived here. My wife being by herself, me being by myself at night, during the day. But you need to take some precautions. The first precaution is don't be stupid. Let me explain that a little bit. What I mean by don't be stupid, don't go around, gold's a big thing in this country. Everybody likes to have gold necklaces, gold watches. So if you can imagine, gold is kind of a coveted thing here. So don't come here wearing big fat gold necklaces and a gold watch, sporting around the bar scene at 3 in the morning. You're just asking for trouble. And if you watch the news around here, you'll see where foreigners are being robbed in the big tourist areas, in the bar areas, in the middle of the night by people. They're just asking for it. If you're asking for it, no, Thailand's not safe for you. You're probably not safe for you in any country. As common sense would dictate, staying in public areas during the daylight, not being out in the middle of the night, in the middle of a scene where a lot of people are drunk or it's a heavy drug use area. I mean, that's just common sense. So as long as you keep your common sense with you, you should do fine here. Crime is low. I have many friends here who are expats. None of them have had any problem with crime whatsoever. That being said, there's exceptions to everything. If something's happened to you, let us know down in the comments. We all want to hear about it. And if you've been here for a long time and you've had no problems at all, let us all know that as well. All in all, the people here in Thailand are very friendly. They're nicknamed the Land of Smiles. So generally, everyone is a good, nice person, and it depends on where you're at too. I figured this out the hard way. I've been in other parts of Thailand that weren't as friendly as where I live, which is Chiang Mai, meaning the areas that seem to be used to dealing with tourists over and over and over again are a little bit more raw, in my opinion, on dealing with tourists than areas that aren't used to tourists. And it's probably because, unfortunately, there's a lot of tourists that come here who are rude and obnoxious. Now remember, we're talking tourists from all over the world. And after a while of dealing with those tourists, I'm sure it can get old after a while and can get pretty salty. But here in Thailand, it is safe and the people here are generally very nice. Now, what about other concerns for safety? Well, my wife and I have a personal joke that go back and forth, that we have a saying, safety comes last in Thailand. And yes, let me finish before you get all upset about this one. Yeah, safety does come last. I don't care what anyone says. You can look at the traffic. It'll take you just minutes to figure this out. Safety comes last. There are laws here in Thailand where people are supposed to wear helmets. They don't wear helmets. Some do, some don't. So I'm talking about the ones that don't. They take no safety precautions whatsoever. No helmets. Go down the wrong way on the street, so they're going against traffic just to save a little time to cut down a back alley. I mean, the way they transport goods around here, they pack it up too high, could fall off any time, hit one of the motorcycles that are behind the truck. Rocks, it's trucks that carry a bunch of rocks. They don't really cover it well. Rocks fly off the back, hit people in the face that aren't wearing helmets. I could go on and on. Going on back roads that are up on a mountain, making a turn. There's no guard railing. There's holes on the sidewalk that seem to go to oblivion down to some sewer system. There's not a cone or anything keeping people from falling down these holes. I mean, there are safety concerns. Oh yeah, going up a flight of stairs only to see an electrical wire that you could reach out and just grab. Safety is last here. So if you're talking about environmental safety around here, you really gotta watch yourselves. And if you got kids, you need to watch them too. Now, since we're talking about safety, what about political instability? You may think, hey, well, could that be a big deal here? Well, when I first got here 2 years ago, there were protests going on all over Thailand. I'm not going to get into what they were protesting. They're not protesting now. However, it is likely that sometime in your stay here in Thailand, you could find yourself in the presence of some sort of political uprising or some protests. My advice to you is let the Thais handle the Thai affairs. Foreigners, stay out of it. Stay away. You never know, the crowd could turn on you if they're blaming foreigners for something. If you don't even know what they're protesting, just stay away from it is what I'm saying. But these things can happen. So when you read about them in the news, like here in Chiang Mai, if there's protests going on in downtown Chiang Mai, you might want to stay away from it. Now, what about Thailand as far as safety from diseases? So we're going to talk about that for a minute. So I did a Google search to see what vaccinations that like the United States or Europe really recommends for people coming to Thailand. And I'll full honesty here, I never looked at it before I came here. So I haven't had many of these things that I'm aware of. So I may be a sitting duck, who knows. But I'm going to read off the list that I printed off because I'm never going to remember all this. So anyway, the CDC and the WHO recommend the following vaccinations for Thailand: hepatitis A, hepatitis B, typhoid, cholera, yeah, I think I'm saying that right, yellow fever, Japanese encephalitis, rabies, meningitis, polio, measles, mumps, and rubella, and chickenpox, shingles, pneumonia, and the flu vaccination. So these are the things that I looked up that people recommend that you get before you come over here. Now, the only thing that I've heard of foreigners getting on a regular basis, I've never heard of anything serious in the 2 years that I've been here, but I have seen in the news things about dengue. Okay, that happens over here. And the other thing I've heard, well, a lot of people get the traveler's diarrhea, the traveler's sickness. If you eat enough street vendor Thai food, or sometimes just in a restaurant, more than likely you're going to end up catching some sort of 24 to 48 hour stomach bug. It's almost inevitable. I was catching them left and right for the first year that I was here in Thailand. I must be building up an immunity to it because it's slowly taken a downturn where I'm not getting sick as much. So that being said, is Thailand safe for viruses? Well, it appears to be, to me. Again, and I haven't had most of these vaccinations that they're recommending, but if you're very paranoid about that kind of thing, you're just a responsible adult, you might want to go ahead and see your doctor about getting these vaccinations before you come to Thailand. Now, what about natural disasters? Yes, here in Thailand, there are earthquakes, there are cyclones. For those of you in the United States, cyclone, hurricane, pretty much same thing. It's just a different name they call it over here. So yes, they have all these hail, big hail coming down. All these things happen here in Thailand. So safety concerns about that type of thing. Do they have these things here in Thailand? You bet. They have some severe storms too that pop up out of nowhere. They have severe smoke seasons, which was something new to me until I moved here. So all those things are something to take into consideration if we're talking about safety overall for Thailand. I don't worry about safety much at all. I did when I first got here, and I realized real quick that the precautions I was taking was just dumb. For instance, like at first, I didn't even want to leave my motorcycle helmet on the motorcycle. When I went into a store, I'm thinking, let me lock up my helmet. You know, somebody may take it. Ridiculous. Nobody's going to take your helmet. Nobody wants your helmet. Another thing, I thought I had to lock up my motorcycle and all my belongings, even though there was nothing in there of value. You know, the little box that I have behind my motorcycle. Nobody wants to steal your stuff for the most part. You would really have to have some bad circumstances to be in it. I've parked my motorcycle on back roads for, you know, festivals that I've been covering to show you guys videos of. You name it, parked all over the place, never had a problem. I leave my jacket, you know, my safety jacket, motorcycle jacket, on top of my motorcycle all the time. My motorcycle gloves on my motorcycle all the time. No one ever touches any of that stuff. So my wife feels very secure walking around here. She's never had a safety concern in the 2 years that we've been here. None of our friends have ever complained about a safety issue since we've been here. So if you're paranoid about the safety here in Thailand, as long as you use common sense, that's of course applies for any country on the planet, you should do well here. So I hope that answers some of your concerns that you may have about moving here to Thailand. Again, if you've got any insight for safety concerns, please leave them down in the comment. If you've never subscribed, we really would appreciate it if you would subscribe. If you feel so inclined, buy us a coffee. There's a link down in the description. There's also a thanks button there down below where you can click and donate to the channel. If you want to donate monthly, there's a thing called Patreon. Love to see you on that as well. I do have some shout outs that I'd like to give. There's only a couple because I just did some shout outs a few videos back. So I thought I would go ahead and tell you all what the shout outs are for. These are two individuals that gave on that thanks button that's down below. I want to shout out to Frederick J. Thank you very much, Frederick J. We really appreciate you supporting the channel. And the other one is Michael M. Thank you, Michael M. We really do appreciate it. So thank you for watching. And until next time, Kap Kun Kap.